Hi Shepherdess, my name is Cal and I'm 16 years old. I've been looking into agriculture lately with a focus mainly on livestock. I like how you break things down simply and easily. It makes the whole process feel less overwhelming and easier to manage. I'm still in school, but starting a small sheep farm or another kind of farm is something I'm seriously considering in the next year, thanks to you. If you've got a moment, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Number 1, what's one piece of foundational advice you'd give to someone before diving into farming properly? Number 2, how did you decide on the scale of your operation when you were starting? And number 3, are there any common mistakes beginners make that I should watch out for? Dear Cal, thank you for writing me. You asked some really good questions, and I'll go ahead and answer them individually in a minute, but most of them have a very similar answer, and it goes along with a personal slogan I adapted when I jumped into farming 5 years ago. And that slogan was, think big, start small, and don't quit. There really are no limits to the plans you can make for yourself when it comes to farming, but no matter what, starting small is going to be to your greatest advantage, especially if you don't have any previous experience as a farmer. Doing something like taking a year to raise just 3 or 5 sheep before jumping into a huge flock is going to put you way ahead. Here are some more in-depth answers to your individual questions based on what's worked for me and my friends. Number 1, one piece of foundational advice I'd give to anyone before they jump into farming is pencil out your large-scale goals and know your numbers. If you can make your farm plan work on paper, it has a much greater chance of working in real life. But if you can't make your farm plan work on paper, there's a very low chance it will work itself out in real life. Now, don't overcomplicate this initial planning process. In fact, just start with 3 different pieces of information. You want to know how much you want to earn as a farmer. Number 2, you need to figure out what you want to sell. And number 3, you need to figure out how much your market will pay for that specific item you've chosen to farm. Once you have these 3 pieces of information, building out your farm plan is just simple math. For example, say you decide you want to earn $10,000 per year, and you want to earn that money by raising sheep. You find your local markets will pay a price of $200 per lamb, and once you have that information, you can divide $10,000 by $200 to find that you need to sell 50 lambs per year to reach your goals. Now, even if you're just raising animals for personal food, try to tie a goal to each animal before committing to it and bringing it back to your farm. For example, if you're raising sheep for meat, figure out how much meat you want per year and how many sheep it's going to take to meet that goal. If you're raising goats for milk, figure out how much goat's milk you want every year and how many goats you need to meet that goal. Your business plan will grow and adjust as you go, but walking through this simple 3-step process up front is critical before you spend a dime. Because to buy a farm or start a homestead with no goals at all is like setting out on a road trip without a destination. It's going to be fun for a while, but at some point, you'll wind up lost and out of gas. Now, once you have this 3-step plan penciled out, take the smallest step possible toward your large-scale goal. For example, if you've decided to raise sheep, start your first year raising 2 to 5 sheep. Once your lambs are born, work to find your first customers and make your first sale. Big success almost always starts with small ones. And on the flip side, if you find out you really don't like raising sheep after all, you figured it out before spending all of your money and energy on 50 sheep. And remember that the way you do small things is the way you will do all things. So give the small things all you've got. In your second question, you asked, how did I decide on the scale of my operation when I was starting? Now the answer is, I simply started with what I had in front of me, which was 30 acres. I didn't own the land, and I still don't, but my family was willing to lease it to me. Now, I never started with the goal of ultimately becoming a big rig rancher and owning thousands of acres. I just wanted to be a good steward of the resources I had access to, and make a business out of them. And this brings me to a really important point that I have found as it relates to farming in modern day, and that is that profitability does not have anything to do with how much land you have. For example, I just interviewed an organic vegetable farmer who makes more profit on 1.5 acres than most commodity grain farmers make on 100 acres. I interviewed a pastured meat producer who makes more profit with just 20 acres than most commodity cattle producers can make on 200. Profitability in modern-day farming directly correlates to your market and your marketing, not to having thousands and thousands of acres. Both of the farmers I just mentioned have a direct-to-consumer subscription sales model for their farm product, called a CSA subscription. CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. This retail business model allows these farmers to cash flow small plots of land way better than commodity producers can cash flow large plots of land. And I'll link the interviews to both of those farmers below so you can listen to the full-length episodes. For some more examples, my friend Nancy regeneratively grazes 6 grass-fed dairy sheep on just 1.5 acres. My friend Nicole raises goats, pigs, bees, chickens, quail, winter wheat crop, vegetables, and runs a 1-room schoolhouse on her 1-acre homestead. If you need land to raise livestock on, consider putting an ad on Craigslist or on your local community Facebook group, and ask if there is anyone with 5 to 10 acres of fenced pasture they'd be willing to rent to you. My friend Teresa in California did this and was able to find 10 acres to raise her beautiful boar goat herd on. But just remember that if doors aren't opening for you to gain access to more than a few acres of land, you probably don't need it anyways. Focus on learning and doing as much as you can with what you do have, because more than likely, at least for today, it's all you need. Your third question was, are there any common mistakes beginners make that I should watch for myself? The answer is yes. Most beginners start too big and invest too much money without a clearly defined goal. This loops to my first point, but this is something that can really happen in any phase of the game, not just in the beginning. In fact, it happened to me. Despite starting small and making a plan, I got cocky. And in my second year, I added cows and a goat herd to the farm on top of my growing sheep flock. I had no real plan for either the cows or the goats, so they rapidly began to consume all of my resources without providing a return. Now, this season of expanding without a plan cost me a lot of time, money, and energy, and pushed me into a time of severe burnout. But thankfully, rather than causing me to quit, the burnout humbled me into a new season of focus and carefulness. I sold my cows, kept a few goats as pets, and returned to my original plan of just raising sheep. So start small to grow your wins rather than magnifying your losses. Now, there's so much opportunity for new farmers today, but it doesn't look like it did 100 years ago. In fact, high-input commodity farming is less profitable than ever before and poses risk to the soil, the atmosphere, and the human body as a result of need for heavy chemical inputs. Wholesale prices for crops are no longer supporting the farmers that grow them. The cost of inputs like fertilizer, seed, and harvesting equipment outweighs the value of what is being grown. More and more conventional farms are selling out, and few would exist at all were it not for the subsidies and government-funded crop insurance we have today. But a new wave of opportunity is opening for small farmers. Consumers are waking up, and they're trading out a grain-based diet for high-quality meats, pasture-raised dairy, and organic produce. And these are the customers that we must look for as new farmers, because the products they want are the products that can be grown without expensive inputs, like combines, tractors, and expensive facilities. They're products that can often be raised on leased land if you can't immediately afford property of your own. So as new farmers, we need to enter the realm of agriculture with our focus on selling to customers who pay retail prices, rather than the brokers who pay wholesale prices. If you're watching this, leave your best tips for Cal in the comment section, and use the first link in the description of this video to download my new Farmer Kickstart PDF, with all of the videos, interviews, and business planning templates I mentioned in this video.